Hey guys, today we've got 25 innovative products that failed in the 1980s by the America Before channel.
These are the inventions that aimed high but fell hard.
Let's have a look at these doozies.
Join us at 25 innovative products from the 1980s that failed miserably.
Thank you, America Before.
Introducing the world's first 6.5-pound all-in-one camera video recorder from Sony. No wires, no bulky recorder.
Back in 1983, Sony tried to shake things up with a bold idea. They released the Beta Movie Recorder. It was one of the first camcorders where the camera and recorder were in one body.
I'm guessing it failed. By calling it the Beta Recorder, I'm guessing they were using like Betamax, when obviously, as history has shown, VHS took over the market for a couple decades. I'm guessing that's the reason it's failed. I've never personally seen this one before, or if I did, I was too young. But okay.
No wires, no heavy setups, just point and shoot. Sounds cool, right?
Must have been expensive.
But here's the problem. It was recorded on Betamax
Yeah,
tapes.
right.
That format looked great, but didn't last long. Most people went for the video home system because it lets you record longer. And unlike other camcorders, this one didn't even let you watch your video right after filming. You had to wait until you got home and played it on a Betamax player. Not fun. Also,
yeah, you know what? And it just goes to show the 1980s were like a massive period of kind of like trial and error, like innovation. A lot of people failed upwards in the 80s. For example, like the internet wasn't prevalent in the 80s. It came along in the 90s into people's homes, right? And certain other things. You know, obviously Laserdisc was walked so DVD could run. So yeah, for sure, I can see where this video would be really interesting.
It cost a lot, and people weren't ready to pay that much. So even with its fresh design, it lost the race to video home system. Sony had big dreams, but Betamovie just couldn't keep up.
Capacitance electronic disc, otherwise known as CED, was an early home video format
How
developed by
big
RCA.
that is!
The Radio Corporation of America had big hopes in 1981. They launched the Capacitance Electronic Disc, CED, a video disc system that looked like a record but played movies. It came in a plastic case, and you had to slide the whole thing into a player. It felt high-tech at the time.
I don't even remember these things. I do remember, I think, in the very early 80s, Bill Cosby was advertising these big laser disc things that were about the same size. But I've never seen this player
There
before.
were problems from the start. The picture quality was not that great. It scratched easily, and even a little dust could mess up your movie. People expected better. Worse still, Video Home System and Betamax were already in homes, allowing recording, pausing, rewinding, and fast-forwarding.
Right.
The capacitance electronic disc could only play, nothing.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, once people have all the bells and whistles, why are they going to go backwards, right? So you basically had a product that looked cool, but didn't have all the future features that people now expected. And yeah, I mean, exactly, why would they want to buy your product over something that does it better?
More. The Radio Corporation of America spent years developing it, but by the time it launched, the world had moved on.
Sure.
Sales were low, and the company discontinued it after just a few years.
How much they're worth to collect.
Great idea, wrong time.
Sure.
With the new Atari Artist program and this simple little device, you draw here, and it comes out there. No typing and no programming.
Atari introduced the CX77 Touch tablet in 1984. It was a drawing pad that let users create art on their television screens. The tablet came with a stylus and the Atari Artist software, offering 128 colors and various patterns.
I'm guessing the issue with this would have been A, the expense, and B, what's the point, because there'd be no way to export your creations. I don't think there would be anyway, we'll find out. But I remember around like 1983, 1984, all the kids were using an Etch-a-Sketch. And sure, they were pretty expensive, but I'm sure they were a cakewalk to get compared to something like this. But let's continue.
Users could draw, erase, and even trace images placed under a clear overlay. Despite its creative potential, the tablet didn't catch on. One major issue was the lack of additional software support. Beyond Atari Artist, there weren't many programs that utilized the tablet. This limited its functionality and appeal. Another issue was user interest.
Sure.
Most people used computers for games or basic tasks, and digital art was still new. Few saw the need for a drawing tablet, and it also required a separate program recorder to save artwork.
Yeah, the first time I used an art program, I think, was on the 1984 Mac, and back then it was in black and white. And I thought it was pretty cool, but I never really looked at it anything else as like a 5-minute time killer gimmick. To be fair, I can't do anything more than draw a stick figure, and even that's really, really bad. I'm lucky to win Champed Up when I play a Jackbox game, if you know what that is. Maybe the needs and the uses are different for people that are actually in art. I mean, hey, look, if you ever had one of these, let me know.
Adding complexity. The CX77 Touch tablet was ahead of its time. It offered a glimpse into digital creativity, but lacked the support and audience to succeed.
Got Mario Paint too.
From IBM, the computer that's growing by leaps and bounds.
IBM wanted to bring computers into people's homes.
Okay.
In 1984, they launched the P. It looked nice and had some cool features, but it didn't go well. The biggest issue was its keyboard. It was small and hard to type on. People even called it the chiclet keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, I just straight away was looking at that computer and I'm just thinking, wow, for the time, that looks quite sleek. Because even 10 years later in the 90s, when I would get a home computer or whatever, 286, 386, you know, the early Aptivas, whatever, they were pretty chunky still. And it's with modern technology and extra features and bells and whistles, right? And so for a computer in this time period to be so sleek, I noticed that straight away.
Because the keys looked like
It's
little
better
gum
comfort.
pieces. It felt cheap and didn't match IBM's name. Another problem was compatibility. Many popular personal computer programs didn't work right on it. That confused users and made the PCJR hard to trust. It also cost too much for a home computer, especially one that didn't work like people expected. Buyers got frustrated fast. IBM tried to fix things, but the damage was done. Sales were bad. They stopped making it just over a year later. A strong name couldn't save a weak product.
Yeah,
If
right?
you think IBM missed the mark, wait till you see what Kodak did with film in the next entry. Check this Kodak Disc 4000.
The Kodak disc camera has automatic film advance. It's so fast you don't have to miss a loop, a flip, or a
That looks
dip.
good for the time period.
Kodak launched the Disc 4000 in 1982, hoping to change how people took photos. It was small, easy to carry, and simple to use. You just popped in a round disc of film and clicked away.
It's crazy to think that Kodak failed in certain products in the 80s, right? Like, they were the king of the photos. Like, in the commercials on TV, everything when it came to pictures and everything, Kodak, 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 Kodak. They must have been kicking themselves just thinking, hey, we tried too hard or we were too early. Because when the whole digital camera craze started, sort of like late 90s, early 2000s, they weren't a part of it. And, I know, it's almost ironic, isn't it?
At first, people liked the new style, but the photos told a different story. The images were fuzzy and dark. The tiny negatives on the disc couldn't capture clear details. That was a big letdown. Even though the camera looked modern, the picture quality ruined its chances.
Yeah, just too early.
People didn't want to keep memories that looked bad. Photoshops also didn't love processing disc film. It added more hassle for them. Kodak pushed the idea for a while, but it never caught on. The Disc 4000 faded fast, and Kodak had to move on.
So good idea, just an execution didn't work.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you feel about
Ah,
computers.
here we go.
Apple released the Macintosh Portable in 1989, hoping to start a new trend in portable computing. But at 16 pounds, it was far from easy to carry. While it had a full keyboard and a decent screen, users quickly ran into issues. The battery life was poor, and sometimes the computer wouldn't turn on unless the battery was fully charged. It also came with a high price tag. Most people couldn't afford it, and those who could felt it didn't offer enough value.
I remember when I was in high school, and it's a long time ago, over 30 years ago in the early high school years. Like, we're talking 1994. I remember a kid on the bus had like one of these portable black and white Macintoshes on a laptop. I don't remember it being this big. Maybe it was a later model, perhaps. And I think he was playing games like SimCity on it and a few other things. It looked really, really neat. I don't remember it being as bulky as what they say, though.
Apple aimed to
That's
lead
heavy.
the portable market, but the product fell short. It was too heavy, too pricey, and didn't meet
Nice battery.
expectations.
Hold it. Do not buy your family a computer until you compare Atom, today's complete computer system, only $499.
Coleco.
Coleco released the Atom computer in
Oh, here we go.
1983, hoping to turn its video game success into a home computer win. The plan looked good on paper. The system came with a printer, a word processor, and a digital data drive. It even worked with ColecoVision games, but things went wrong fast. Many units arrived dead right out of the box.
Oh.
Others broke within days.
Yeah, man, I mean, all I need to say to this one is you only get one chance to leave a first impression, right? And it's a great idea. 1983, these kind of systems were popping up, left a bad impression, and then look at Commodore 64. They just ran away with it for a little while, didn't they?
The printer, which powered the whole system, was loud and unreliable. If it failed, the computer wouldn't even start. Coleco rushed the release to catch the holiday season, but that rush led to sloppy hardware and angry buyers. Software support was weak too. People returned the machines and lost trust in the brand. Coleco hoped to enter the computer market strong, but the Atom's problems crushed that dream before it even began.
Ladies and gentlemen, behold, Colgate frozen lasagna.
What the fuck?
In the 1980s, Colgate made a move no one saw coming. The toothpaste giant decided to launch its own frozen food line. One of the products was Colgate lasagna.
So, what? Are you supposed to eat this food? And then at the same time, inside the minced meat and the cheese, there's fluoride, so it self-cleans your teeth while you're eating? Come to think of it, that would be a fantastic idea. I'm sure it didn't work out that way, and I'm sure that they're just trying to sell food, but let's see.
The idea behind it was simple. Colgate already had strong brand recognition. They thought people would trust their name on food, too.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that
sure.
trust didn't carry over. Consumers saw the Colgate label and thought of minty toothpaste, not a warm meal. The mix of food and hygiene branding was just too strange. Most people were put off immediately. They couldn't imagine eating something linked to brushing their teeth. The lasagna flopped hard.
Sometimes your reputation can be too good. Like, if you've got like a whole market base in basically bathroom hygiene and all that kind of thing, you're just going to be known as that, right? I'm not saying that you can't go out of that, but it certainly would be very, very difficult. Certainly expansion's a wonderful thing, but when you're known for something, for example, you think of child actors. I know I'm digressing a little bit, but when you've had a child actor act in all of these like movies, like Macaulay Culkin, for example, like Home Alone and all that, and then all of a sudden you try to make him a kingpin in a mob movie, probably not going to work. I don't know why I use that as an example, but I was just trying to get my point across, okay?
People didn't buy it, and stores didn't want to stock it. Colgate quickly pulled it from the market. It remains one of the strangest product choices ever. Now, let's talk about the McDLT, when McDonald's tried giving you homework along with your burger.
Ah!
Did you hear about McDonald's new McDLT?
Yeah, right.
It could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
'Cause the hot stays hot and the cool stays cool.
The McDLT was McDonald's attempt to offer a fresher burger by keeping the hot and cold parts separate. Lettuce and tomato went on one side of a large styrofoam box, while the patty stayed on the other.
You know what? If you're dining in, I don't think that necessarily is a bad idea. But for those of you who don't know, 60% plus of business, I don't know, back then, I'm assuming it was pretty close, is always through the drive-thru, right? So when you take it home, none of it's going to be hot anyway, so I'd assume the product is just pointless.
Customers had to put it together themselves. While the taste was fine, the packaging caused problems. It was bulky, wasteful, and used a lot of styrofoam at a time when people were becoming more environmentally aware. Many didn't like the extra trash or the extra work. People wanted quick, ready-to-eat meals, not do-it-yourself
Yeah, we got out of
burgers.
styrofoam in the early
The
90s.
McDLT quietly vanished and is now remembered mostly for its odd, wasteful design.
Just doesn't really seem necessary in my opinion.
This is Karen sucking her thumb, and this is her brother trying to get her to stop.
Lifesavers decided to turn their popular candy into a drink in the 1980s.
Well, this is nothing unusual. I mean, it's not as common in Australia, but we do have American quickie marts and convenience stores in Australia in some areas. And you go in, and I mean, they still do like candy drinks, like the Chupa Chup drink and the Warheads drinks and things like that. Not such a bad idea. I mean, for the kids, I guess. I mean, I don't really like my drinks loaded with sugar. I now have the more diet side of things these days, but I don't know why this would fail unless it tasted like ass. But let's have a look. Lifesavers were popular in
The
Aussie.
idea was to give fans the same sweet flavor in liquid form. On paper, it sounded fun and colorful.
Sure.
The company hoped that people would love sipping on a soda that tasted just like their favorite treat.
Sure.
But the reality didn't go so well. The soda was way too sweet. Most people found it hard to drink more than a few sips.
Sure.
What worked in candy didn't work in a drink.
Now, I say this with the absolute utmost respect, my friends in the United States. But if you guys are saying that a drink is loaded with too much sugar, then I believe you.
The flavor was too strong and didn't feel refreshing. Even with its bright branding and recognizable name, the product didn't catch on. Stores pulled it from shelves, and the company dropped the idea.
Yeah.
It became another reminder that not everything sweet belongs in a bottle.
Sure.
This cigarette will treat you to a smoke with a cleaner taste, a cleaner aroma, a cleaner feel. Premier.
How about we just don't smoke?
In the late 1980s, R.J. Reynolds spent millions to create a smokeless cigarette called Premier.
What?
Instead of burning tobacco, it heated it, aiming to offer a cleaner way to smoke. But smokers disliked it.
So this is kind of like an early form of vaping, essentially. Unless I'm missing something. So they had similar technology in like the 80s? That's kind of impressive.
The taste was poor, the feel was odd, and the smell wasn't pleasant. It also looked strange, making people uncomfortable using it in
yeah, because
public.
smoking's such a fashion
The company
statement.
spent around $325 million on the project, but
Oh.
it failed quickly. Stores couldn't sell it, and users weren't interested.
Damn.
R.J. Reynolds pulled it from the market, losing a huge sum.
Yeah, right.
Premier is now remembered as one of the costliest product failures in tobacco history. In 1989, Pepsi thought people might want soda instead of coffee in the morning. So they made Pepsi AM, with more caffeine than regular Pepsi.
That sounds like an absolutely fantastic idea. Outside the fact that they're loaded with sugar, if they did like a Pepsi AM but in a diet, frickin' sign me up. I'll have that instead of Rockstar. I don't see what the problem is, quite frankly.
It was made for people who didn't like coffee but still wanted a boost to start their day.
Yeah.
The idea was bold, and the name sounded strong and energizing.
What
But
happened?
even with such a powerful name, it didn't work. Most people just weren't ready to drink soda with breakfast.
You know what, bruds? That's never freaking stopped me. I mean, I do the more mature thing now, finally, now that I'm almost 45, and I have the instant coffee at breakfast. But that's never still stopped me occasionally having the fizzy soda or energy drink in the mornings. It's just something about something cold with the burning bubbles on your tongue that just give you an extra spring in the morning. But hey, that's just me.
It didn't taste much different either, so there wasn't a good reason to buy it.
Because of the caffeine,
Pepsi
dickhead.
AM faded fast and was quietly pulled from shelves. Next, let's look at one of the weirdest cars from the 1980s. Nissan's bold yet confusing Pulsar. Sportback.
Introducing the all-new 87 Nissan Pulsar NX.
It's like half a
The
car.
Nissan Pulsar NX Sportback tried to be two cars in one.
You know what? This was kind of around the era where a lot of people were trying to be like, hey, you know what? Having a really fancy sports car like a BMW or Ferrari or Mercedes or whatever is all well and good. But most people are working class. How can we give them that look with a beer budget, if that makes sense? And, you know, I know they were coming out with the poor man's convertibles, like maybe not so much the MX-5, but like the Ford Calais. And if I got the model right, have I? Or is it the Capri? Might be the Capri, excuse me. I'm getting the Holden model confused, forgive me. And a few other cars, you get the point. You've seen them in the 80s. And yeah, I mean, this kind of looks sleek, sporty, but it just really certainly feels like it's missing something, doesn't it?
With its modular rear hatch, drivers could switch between a sporty coupe and a mini wagon.
Right.
It was a bold, futuristic idea,
Identity
but it
crisis.
didn't click with buyers. The design looked strange, and the extra cost for the Sportback option didn't help. People were confused by its purpose. Was it fun, practical, or both?
At least it doesn't look as bad as the Homer that was released by Herbert Cow. I'm just saying.
Sales stayed low, and the model disappeared quickly. While it stood out, it became more of a novelty than a success. Nissan took a risk, but the market just wasn't ready for it.
Bit of an identity crisis. Sort of go all in one way, I think.
Discover Intellivision. It can change your family.
In 1980, Mattel promised to turn its Intellivision game system into a full computer with a new keyboard component. It was packed with features like a tape drive, microphone, and extra memory.
What happened?
But things quickly went wrong. The product kept getting delayed and didn't hit test markets until late 1981. It finally launched in early 1982 in just a few cities for a high price of $600.
Okay, so outside of the price back then, that's freaking expensive. I don't know how many families would spend $600 on a unit like this unless they're upper middle class. But just thinking about the technology alone, it sounds pretty good for back in 1982. Like, it's like a full year before Commodore 64. Plays games, has a keyboard, cassette player, microphone, digital computer for your TV, I'm assuming. I don't know much about it. Just on paper, it sounds amazing. So let's hear what went wrong.
Worse, it had almost no working software.
Well,
Customers were upset, and the government started looking into it. By mid-1982, Mattel pulled it from stores and gave refunds. A big dream failed in just 2 years.
That's just an example of a great idea that launched before it was ready. If you just waited an extra 6 months and you came with it loaded with features and software and things like that, also even given it more time for a beta test, you could have still taken the market away from Commodore 64. Prior preparation prevents piss-poor performance.
DeLorean. Gull-wing doors rise effortlessly, beckoning you inside.
The DeLorean DMC-12 looked like something straight out of the future. It had stainless steel panels and cool gull-wing doors. When it appeared in the movie Back to the Future, it became a pop culture icon. But the real car was far from perfect. Its engine was weak, and its speed didn't match its sporty look.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't care what anyone says. I think the DeLorean looks cool. If someone gave me one right now, I would literally look after it like it was my own baby and drive it around everywhere. But if the reason it failed was mainly because of like poor reliability and engine, hey, you know what? Fair enough.
Drivers were let down by how it performed on the road. It also cost more than many better-performing cars.
Sure.
Inside, it didn't feel high-end or special. The company rushed production, and quality suffered.
Get Doc Emmett Brown to
Sales
take care
stayed
of it.
low. Fewer than 9,000 cars were made before the company went bankrupt. Even though the DMC-12 is still remembered today, it failed in the market.
If anyone owns a DeLorean or knows someone that owns one, let me know how much the market value of one that's been restored is. Because I know people are really trying to find them to put in their collection, obviously, because there's so many Back to the Future fanboys, including me. I reckon getting one of those for fans of the movie would be a total dream come true. I reckon someone out there has probably sort of done a West Coast customs on it and actually replaced the interior to look like the interior of Back to the Future. Obviously, the components aren't actually a time machine, but that would still be a hell of a look if you were taking it around the town. Oh my gosh, I need to hear some stories.
It was a car that looked amazing, but didn't drive that way. The dream was big, but the reality didn't match up.
The Sinclair C5, £399. Want to buy one? Want to see one?
It's like, doesn't know if it wants to be a scooter or a car.
The
Wait,
Sinclair
what's this?
C5 was a small, one-person electric vehicle launched in 1985. It resembled a mix between a go-kart and a bike, powered by a regular battery.
You know what? These things look absolutely sweet, but when I saw the guy going along the road on that thing, it did look a little bit awkward. So I don't know how safe these things would have been. But obviously with modern technology now, let's get these things on the road, hey.
Designed as a cheap and clean way to get around town, it faced criticism for its strange appearance and a maximum speed of only 15 miles per hour.
It's like a mobility scooter.
Its low profile made drivers feel unsafe, especially around larger cars, and poor weather protection added to the problems.
Sure.
Despite being an early attempt at electric transport, the vehicle failed to attract buyers, and the company ceased production after just 1 year. Coming up is a computer that wowed everyone with its power and graphics, but still couldn't survive. Let's talk about the rise and fall of the Amiga computers.
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, the Amiga 500 and the 500 Plus, I think it was, were phenomenal systems. I didn't own one myself. My friend owned one, and even in the early to mid-90s, I was over at his house playing it every day. And even all the way until the mid-90s, you could get like an Amiga magazine or something and get a free demo disc for the thing. So that whole computer came out in the mid-80s, and I mean, it was kind of like the little engine that could. It just kept churning out stuff for about a decade. So I don't know. I mean, look, maybe some of the newer models got lost in the shuffle. I'm not sure. But at the very least, in the early days, man, Amiga was a great time.
Commodore Amiga 500, the future of computing for the home, personal education, creative applications, and the business environment.
The Amiga was one of the most advanced home computers of its time. Launched in 1985, it had amazing graphics, sound, and multitasking features that were perfect for games, animation, and video work.
And just one more thing, I didn't have the Amiga, but in 1984, I had the first model of Apple Macintosh, which was very similar and ran great, but was all in black and white. And, you know, that became obsolete pretty quickly. I think like a year or two later, the Amiga came out and did everything that it did, but in color, with like stereo sound and games that were like 16-bit even before its time. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not wowed enough by the Amiga. I will admit, when I go back and play Amiga games now, they all looked and sound fantastic, but a lot of them did play like ass. But let's continue.
But the computers had problems that held them back. They lacked memory protection, so programs could crash easily. The early models needed multiple boot disks just to start, and software support was weak.
Same with the Mac.
Later versions, like the Amiga 600, removed useful features and confused buyers. While the Amiga had brilliant tech, it was often hard to use, underpowered, or unfinished. These flaws made people turn to simpler, more reliable personal computers.
You really feel the music with the Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman.
What's wrong with the Sony Walkman? I was even using that in like the late 90s still.
The Sony Walkman changed how people listened to music in the 1980s.
What's wrong?
It made music portable. You could clip it to your belt and listen on the go. It was a huge hit. Everyone wanted one. The sound was good, and the design was cool. But Sony got stuck in the past. As the world moved toward digital music, the company hesitated. Other brands started making MP3 players. Then Apple launched the iPod and took over the market. Sony had the tech to compete, but it didn't act fast enough.
Well, I think this is a little bit unfair because this video is 25 innovative products from the 80s that failed. Sony Walkmans dominated the 80s, absolutely dominated. Every kid wanted one if they loved music. I bought a really cheap one in the late 90s. I'll admit in the late 90s I was already on the out because I had a Discman at the time, and slowly after that MP3 players, right? So yeah, eventually they failed with this product. But they didn't fail with this product in the 80s. So I think this selection's actually really unfair, honestly. You got this one wrong.
Instead of leading the digital shift, Sony held on to old systems.
Same with Kodak.
Their music software was clunky and hard to use. By the time they reacted, it was too late. The Walkman lost its place in music history. The brand that once ruled portable music fell behind.
Still great, though.
Introducing the RCA Video Disc Player, the extraordinary machine that plays records you watch on your TV.
The Radio Corporation of America,
Another one?
RCA, launched the video disc system in 1981.
Hang on, is this another variation? I'm pretty sure we reviewed this one already. I'm getting like hella deja vu now.
Hoping to lead the future of home video. The system played movies on large vinyl-like discs using a special needle. It looked high-tech but had big problems. The discs were easy to scratch and got dirty fast.
I think he totally doubled
Worse, the system couldn't record or rewind like video home system tapes.
Yeah.
Just months earlier, the video home system hit the market and quickly offered more convenience and better value. RCA didn't see the shift coming. Sales were poor, and by 1984,
Sure, we
the
saw
video
that.
disc was gone.
I'm getting
What was
so
meant
much
to be
deja vu.
RCA's next big thing ended up helping sink the company.
I'd like the most popular home video game system ever.
Ah, the system you want is the Atari 2600.
The Atari 2600 was one of the first home video game consoles and became a huge success in the early 1980s.
I'm kind of, was at first I was like, the Atari 2600, I'm surprised, and I'm like, no, because as quick as Atari went up, it fell. Again, because they got lazy and complacent in their development, and they didn't innovate enough. So, yeah, this is a banger pick, actually. Banger pick.
Games like Space Invaders and Pitfall made it very popular.
Yeah, great
But
games
soon,
too.
Things went wrong. Atari rushed to release bad games like E.T., which was confusing and hard to play. Pac-Man also looked and felt nothing like the arcade version. On top of that, too many companies made cheap, boring games. Stores were filled with junk, and people stopped buying. Atari lost trust and money fast. What started as a gaming revolution ended with failure and piles of unsold games buried in the ground.
I loved when Nintendo came out with a whole quality seal of approval, because where Atari went wrong, and eventually Nintendo's been guilty of this in later systems too, like on Nintendo Wii and things like that, but when Nintendo got it right was they released, for the most part, decent quality games. Not always, but mostly. Whereas on Atari, it's just so much shovelware was coming up, and so many unclassified games that would have never flied today. And, yeah, I mean, especially back when you incorporate inflation and things like that, games back then cost a fortune, had elaborate models and covers and everything like that. And people were just blowing ridiculous amount of money, like sometimes up to a week's wages, on a shitty experience. And, yeah, for them it became all over Red Rover.
Think the Viewmaster was just for photos? In 1988, it
I had
tried
one
to
of
jump
those.
into gaming, and things
Oh,
got
really?
weird fast.
I had a Viewmaster, I'm pretty sure. You click the thing and the red thing and little slides go through, right?
In
Or am I-
1988, Viewmaster tried to bring television and video games together with the interactive vision. This video home system-based console let kids watch shows with characters like The Muppets, Sesame Street, and Disney
Well, that looks
favorites,
kinda cool.
while using a joystick and buttons to make choices. It even had 2 soundtracks and interactive video overlays to give players the feeling they were part of the story. Sounds cool, right? But it was too limited. It needed a video cassette recorder, had clunky gameplay, and felt more like a toy than a real console.
Sure.
Competing systems like the Nintendo Entertainment System were miles ahead. Despite its fun idea, it didn't catch on and quickly faded from memory.
That's the thing with gimmicks. They're always going to take attention for like literally 15 minutes, hence 15 minutes of fame. But, you know, outside of the gimmick, if there's no substance, yeah, I mean, the rise and fall can be very quick.
Jobs, and I make
But
computers.
you get the point?
It's called Next Station. It's a slab, monitor,
I didn't
keyboard,
do
the
it,
mouse,
boy.
the
I didn't do it.
software.
After Steve Jobs left Apple, he introduced the Next computer in 1988. It looked futuristic and had powerful features like advanced
I like the
graphics,
blacks.
a built-in digital signal processor, and Next Step software. It was meant for schools and researchers, but the $6,500 price tag made it too expensive. It also didn't support popular software, so few people bought it. Despite the
I didn't
failure,
remember it.
it made a mark. Tim Berners-Lee used a Next computer to create the first web browser.
Well, that's
In
cool.
the end, it was a great idea that didn't sell.
Yeah, I mean, it's sleek. I like the black colors, and I don't even remember it, so it must have been such a small footnote. As for Steve Jobs, obviously he's no longer with us now, but at the time, I'm sure he was just fine. As you guys all know, he failed upward.
Becoming more of a tech legend than a market success.
To the greatest sports performance shoe in the world.
Oh, everyone loved these
The
in
Reebok
school.
Pump. Pump
7th grade, everyone was wearing these or Nike Airs, if they had money.
Reebok launched the pump shoes in 1989 to offer something new and high-tech. The sneakers had an inflatable system that let users pump air into the tongue for a custom fit.
I thought these were cool.
It was exciting and caught attention fast, especially after the National Basketball Association star Dee Brown wore them in a dunk contest. But the excitement didn't last. The shoes were expensive, and the pump feature didn't actually improve performance much. Competitors.
I'm not going to lie, when I was a kid, the only time I ever got Nikes was when my dad brought the warehouse ones on a business trip back from overseas, if you know what I'm saying. Because you think about it, I didn't go without, man. I came from like a lower middle class upbringing. But the thing is, when you're constantly growing out of shoes, think your parents are going to spend $50, $100, $200, $2,000 on shoes for you? Hell no! You're getting your shoes at freaking Kmart. Which I didn't mind, because when I was really young, we had these really cool Velcro things, and that was pretty awesome. But I digress. I thought these shoes were cool. What happened?
Nike focused on real athletic performance, while Reebok's tech started to feel like a gimmick. Over time, interest faded, and the pump became more of a fashion memory than a success.
PXL 2000 video
another video game.
Now you can be seen and heard.
The PXL 2000 was a toy video camera released by Fisher-Price in 1987. It recorded grainy black and white footage onto standard cassette tapes. It seemed futuristic, especially for kids, and could even capture sound. But it had a big problem. It was expensive. Priced around $179, many parents skipped it.
Well, hey, I don't know what year this came out. I'm going to guess mid to late 80s, and if that is the case, let's be honest, I think most kids were asking for a Nintendo Entertainment System in that time period. So I certainly know if I had a choice between that or this product, I'd be going for the Nintendo 10 out of 10 time. Which is a shame, because this looks kind of cool. Probably just not at the price point.
Kids didn't find much use for its low-quality video, and sales flopped. The product vanished after 1 year. Still, artists later rediscovered it for its gritty aesthetic. Indie filmmakers praised its strange, dreamlike video style. It became a niche cult favorite in film circles. But as a mass-market toy, it failed fast. High price, unclear purpose, and low appeal to children made it one of the most unusual flops of the 1980s. To close things out, let's look at one of the cheapest computers ever made and why it still failed.
Now, Timex brings the power of the computer within reach of more people than ever before. Introducing the Timex Sinclair 1000.
The Timex Sinclair 1000 was launched in 1982 as one of the most affordable home computers ever. Priced under $100, it aimed to bring computing to the masses.
Wow. Only $100. I'm trying to think of how much the Commodore 64 was in comparison. I think that was hundreds of dollars. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a case of, like, don't expect champagne off a beer budget. I use that phrase all the time. But for $100, I mean, I just don't see how it's possible, how you would have programs that would help you with, like, your education, your work, or anything tangible that you would need in your everyday life. It just seems like such a low price point. But let's see what happens.
It featured a black and white display, 2 kilobytes of random access memory, a membrane keyboard, and used cassette tapes for programs. Despite the low price, it had many flaws. It was slow, limited, and hard to use. The keyboard frustrated users, and most useful software needed extra memory. Competitors like the Commodore 64 offered more power and better features.
Oh, well, that's the video done, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. This was also from the American Before channel. Don't forget to check them out. Give them a sub. Give us a sub too, guys. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you in another video. That was interesting.